Right. Well, we're using the the FaceTime camera. Max got bored. He's tuned out.
Are
So
we
he's got.
on?
We are live, you see.
Okay.
But the thing is, we're using our FaceTime cam because for some
Yeah.
reason this other camera just stopped working.
Oh, darn.
And I don't have time. Like you saw, it just crashed on the opening. So,
Yeah.
So we have to use our FaceTime camera because that's the way it is.
That's
Sorry.
life.
That's life. You got to be anti-fragile and
be
get ready to
agile.
go. See, look, I'll go back to the 4K cam.
Yeah. Look at
And
that.
look, we're frozen.
That's the way it was a few minutes ago.
Yeah.
But, we can travel back in time. Thanks to Bitcoin, time is a construct that we don't really need to respect.
No. Anyway, so yeah, we're microdosing the Crackup boom. We're starting now, regardless of for some reason the Sony camera is not streaming. I will probably get up in a few moments and jiggle around with the camera, but
you can jiggle me around.
It is also like when I restart every time you restart a Macintosh, like there's all this new software. It always updates automatically. So there's all this software that updates, and then something goes wrong that you have to then update another bit of something that didn't match. So I'm gonna I'm gonna go and look and see if you could even hear us because I don't know. But Max, take it away.
I'm going to let you people know that for those who have been asking for a Max Kaiser book, your wishes and dreams will be fulfilled. A Max Kaiser book is dropping in the next 3 to 4 weeks. We'll be dropping a Max Kaiser book with the cooperation and with swanbitcoin.com is essentially publishing this epic Max Kaiser book. And if you want more information, keep track of me on Twitter or keep track of Brecky Von Brecky on Twitter and get the latest information about this book, the Max Kaiser Bitcoin book. That's going to be dropping in the next 3 to 4 weeks, maybe sooner. I'm writing the foreword right now. I'm almost finished with the foreword. And it's going to be worth every penny that you spend on it. Pricing right now is in the, I believe, $7 to $9 range for this book.
Right. Well, it would be nice if it were like priced like squid. So, one thing I'm saying, like with this Crackup boom, is that basically strap in. Because
strap in
and get ready for squid. Because remember, we had this amazing moment this past week with a crypto influencer sort of guy on YouTube live streaming, and he was live streaming this shitcoin called Squid, which was actually beyond a shitcoin. It was just pure, straight up scam coin. And the thing that was amazing, everybody saw it because he was following the price soaring, going parabolic, and then whoa, screaming as it crashed to zero instantly. So, the thing about it that I noticed in the fiat space this past week or two is that we're seeing Crackup boom, like parabolic numbers going up in terms of Tesla, in terms of Bed Bath & Beyond, Avis. All these shares are like doubling overnight or up 50%, and a huge thing like Tesla is up 7% a day, a few days in a row, and $1 trillion company. I mean, it's not like, and that's a huge amount of capital. It's a whale like moving. It's not just like a little Bed Bath & Beyond, which is just now a $2 billion company after rocketing, going parabolic. So, there's a huge amount of capital, huge boom and bust, boom right now. But the thing is, like, I was looking at this Washington Post story, and what they were saying is that we see with American Airlines, we see with Southwest Airlines, we see all these flight cancellations. And just like all these Biden bucks have been sent to everybody, people can't spend them. Just like with Squid, people weren't able to spend it. And that's why the price went so parabolic, is like it wasn't actually able to convert on any exchange into any useful thing like Bitcoin. So it went parabolic and then crashed to zero as soon as these guys who ran this scam, whoever ran it, got away with like $2.1 million. But the same thing is like with these Biden bucks, nobody could spend them, right? Because You can't get on a flight. Flights get canceled. You can't buy a house. There's no liquidity there, and nobody's selling because they don't want to pay, a fortune to buy another house and all this sort of stuff. So we have the same sort of setup of this squid. So get ready for squid in the fiat world is what I'm positing here, Max.
Right. So it's a Minsky moment, or Hyman Minsky, famous economist, who described academically what happens when rising prices are used as collateral to create more rising prices. And it becomes a feedback loop until you hit a moment where it implodes. And we've seen this many, many times in individual sectors, the subprime crisis, NASDAQ. We've seen it in individual stocks like a Tesla, or now with some of these meme stocks with Squid. Squid, you could argue, is a kind of a highly concentrated, minuscule version of the Minsky moment. George Soros calls it the theory of reflexivity. Essentially, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy, but we've never seen it really on a global basis. So this is because the central banks over the past 30 years, as Nomi Prince writes about in her book Collusion, have become essentially one central bank, so that no central bank is competing with other central banks as you would have normally in a kind of a David Ricardian model of competition happening between nations. No, you have one central bank serving one group of quintillionaires, and they are printing money, using it to collateralize the purchase of more collateral that they then use to collateralize more printed money. And this is going on. And this is a global Minsky moment, and we see the signs of it everywhere. We see the signs of it certainly in a lot of the stocks. We see it in the housing. We see it in commodities. And like Squid, which is a shit coin that came and went very, very quickly, it's all basically the same thing. We could say the exact same thing happened in Iceland in 2008. The banks were using their own balance sheet to collateralize purchase of their shares in their own banks. And then as the bank stock went up, they used it as collateral to buy more of their own bank, until that economy, the Icelandic economy, essentially went to zero. They did not bail out the bankers in Iceland. They chose to rebuild from scratch, and that would be the proper response.
Right. Well, I turned up the volume. I mean, I see it turning red on my side, but there are people complaining they can't hear it. So I can only speak softly. Otherwise, it's overmodulating. So I don't know. That's the thing with the whole crapification and shitification and the wokeification of everywhere is unfortunately, I have this $6,000 computer that I spent a year and a half ago, Macintosh, the last of the Intel computers. So before they did the M1, and Intel obviously knew that was their last, round of MacBooks. So why deal with it, right? Why even produce your best work for Mac when Apple was no longer going to use you? So the Intel chip thing this computer is like the biggest $6,000 turkey I've ever seen. But the Apple made chip computer might work. I think this is the problem is our 18-month-old Mac, which has 8 terabyte hard drive. It has totally maxed out RAM, totally maxed out everything, the highest of everything you could get. And it does always have weird problems that never could get fixed, especially with audio visual stuff. So, was it just one dork in the live chat who couldn't hear? Because that's often the problem too. They have a $200 computer or a $6,000 Apple Mac, and it's shit, and they can't hear anything, and everybody else is like, "Oh my God, it's so loud now because you turned up the volume." Yeah. See, yeah, everybody's saying it's loud. So I'm going to ignore that person who's complaining. I'll just ignore that person who's complaining. It was just some moron. But, we have this woke lash, right? The backlash to the woke thing that's happened in certainly in Virginia, perhaps in New Jersey. As we're speaking right now, the results are not final yet. They don't know what is happening in New Jersey. It's too close. So the woke lash in Virginia was, of course, Virginia was won by Biden by 10 points just, 18 months ago. And now they lost. They were surprised to a Republican who was pretty unknown before he ran for governor. It wasn't like he was a well-known person with a huge national presence or anything like that. But there was a woke lash to the education policies of this critical race theory. And, apparently there was weird stuff, let's say, happening in schools in Virginia. In particular, it all started, according to Zaid Jalani, with the fact that we saw parents were angry that they had 18 months of lockdowns of the schools. The actual schools were shut down. So, as Max and I have mentioned on Kai's report, we've mentioned it here, we've mentioned it everywhere, that a lot of our friends who are super wealthy, their kids have never not gone to school this whole time. There might have been like 2 or 3 weeks in the very, very early days of the pandemic, but all their kids are in private schools. Gavin Newsom's, the governor of California, his kids always attended school through the whole pandemic, whereas he shut down the public schools. So there was a backlash to that because obviously those kids are going to fall behind, especially if the parents don't have all day to spend at home to teach their kids, to homeschool them. So there was a backlash to that. But the Democrats were running on this policy because I guess of the teachers union that, it's a grave threat to the lives of teachers. Should you even ask, that parents shouldn't have anything to do with education policy. They want to kill teachers, and they're white supremacists and sexist. That was the saying on what was happening.
I think like markets, like social trends, like nature, things go in cycles. And so we had a cycle of wokeism, I think, is the most prevalent meme that's being used to describe this period. And I think that now we have, I think it's called woke lash is the trending topic on Twitter. I think that period, that cycle is behind us, and we're going to go into, we're in a new cycle. The political pendulum, I guess, is swinging now away from blue toward red, and leading into the 2022 midterm elections. It looks like the House is now going to go red, which is not atypical. After an election, the House sometimes flips during the midterms. And the problem, Stacy, is that the Democratic Party at the head of their ticket, the president of the United States, is extremely unpopular. And, not to put too fine a point on it, but he does appear to be having, some health issues. And that can't help but be, a discouraging factor in the Democratic Party.
Right. And just so you know, because our people are tuning in saying, hey, why is the camera not so crisp as usual? It's because the computer sucks and it's not reading the high resolution stuff from the Sony camera we have up here. So anyway, we're going to wrap early. The reason why we did this live stream even early, usually we do the microdose at 2 p.m., but there's a string of other live streams happening, including one with Michael Saylor and Greg Foss that I think that starts at 3 p.m. Eastern time. So there's a whole slew of other content today coming out. So I just wanted to, share the airwaves and your time with the other big Bitcoiners in the space. It looks like we're heading towards new all-time highs. Gold is crashing, of course, whereas down $25. So that continues to sink. The most important thing, of course, is just the message and our words, and that's the most important thing. The fact that this computer is shit as well, even though it's $6,000 and only 18 months old, is a part of that whole crapification of everything. But also, even to order a new MacBook, the new ones that just came out, which are apparently really good, right? The M1 chip, the M1 Max, and the Pro chips are really good, but it's like 2 or 3 months to get one. Like everything. There's a supply shortage of everything. This is part of the crack up boom. Like you can't get any supplies of anything because everything is a Crackup boom. Apple also announced that they're just going to halt production essentially on their iPads because they have so few microchips that they're going to allocate those instead to the new iPhone 13.
This reminds me of the Alec Baldwin press conference done on the roadside.
What was it? His Macintosh was also bust?
That gun wasn't working. And I have no idea how I shot dead that woman. I have no idea. It was a malfunction of the equipment. I don't know what's going on. But nevertheless, what's happening in the Bitcoin world?
So let's look at the Bitcoin price. Let's go over there. 62,500 is down 1.6% in the past 24 hours.
The
What do you say
above
to that?
60,000 now for over 2 weeks. It's made a new, it's higher lows and higher highs. So this would be a higher low.
Yeah.
The chart is, if you look at it, you pull out, you look at it over a multi-year period, it does nothing but go up. There are some intermediate times when it trades off, it corrects. It's, but other than that, the price is very much in an upward bias, and all the fundamentals, Stacy, all the fundamentals about why someone would buy Bitcoin, own Bitcoin, hodl Bitcoin, they've done nothing but get better and stronger, expand exponentially. I see there's a move now. Ted Cruz in Washington is saying he wants to make all the payments for stuff around the White House and on Capitol Hill. They're going to give them a Bitcoin option to pay for stuff. He wants to get the education curve, sloping upward. That sounds like a good idea.
Yeah, and the mayor of Miami, Mayor Suarez, is going to be paid in Bitcoin. Then you have Eric Adams. He won in New York City as mayor, and he wants to. He calls himself the mayor of all Bitcoins. But of course, I saw some sort of tweet indicating that he's going to do a Miami coin equivalent, a New York coin.
People make that interim mistake. We saw it in Venezuela. We saw it in Miami. We're going to see it in New York. They're going to come out with a local coin, which, it's a stepping stone toward Bitcoin nirvana, where you realize, hey, you know what? My local coin is a dumb idea. I just need to go full on Bitcoin maximalist. This has been the story now for 11 years. We used to see, remember, Scott coin was for Scotland. There was Lakota coin for the indigenous population in America. There were a lot of regional town coins. They all disappeared eventually. And so this is just a common error people make, but you can't dissuade them from making this common error. People are pre-programmed to do certain things over and over again. We talked about this earlier with the AI debacle, with the Zillow situation.
Yeah, well, the thing is, Zillow can't predict markets, and neither can you, and neither can Max, and neither can I. Nobody could predict markets, and yet, everybody wants to think they can control markets or predict markets in some way. That's why the crypto influencer YouTube exists. All those, wow, I could predict this price, right? This notion that you could predict a price. Everybody, definitely we would have 30,000 people live streaming this right now if we were just giving you nonstop price predictions. Tesla's going to be at 1350 tomorrow. Bitcoin's going to be at 6740 tomorrow. And then, if we were doing that, people would be tuning in yeah, give me more. And then, of course, what they do first thing, as soon as it goes the opposite way, where they're losing money, then they're in the comments screaming, I lost everything because of you. I have no agency. I have no free will. I am not a human. They want to blame the bot. Somebody wants to, that need for price predictions is a need to have a sort of submission. They don't want to have any sort of sovereignty. They don't want the responsibility of having to make their own decisions.
Yeah, it's a need to gamble. People have a need for advice. It could be sex, it could be gambling, it could be drugs. And so when people are saying, what's the price going to be tomorrow? It's because they're gambleaholics. There is a limitation to how effective you can be in predicting stock prices. The maximum effectiveness for predicting market prices, starts at around 5 years, goes to 7 years. This is why Warren Buffett's very, very successful, because he's willing to hold something for 7, 8, 9 years. Peter Lynch said you have to own something for a minimum of 7 years for it to work out. And that's an eternity for 99% of the investors out there, because they're looking for gambling profits. They want a quick fix.
Yeah.
Shitcoins thrive on this. And with Zillow company, the Zillow group, ZG on the New York Stock Exchange, I believe is the symbol, they fell into this very predictable trap that we've covered innumerable times on all of our various shows going back almost 20 years. And the story is exactly the same. The names have been changed to protect the guilty.
Right. And you know, the other thing about $6,000 computers from Macintosh is apparently in this new computer, they kind of increase a little bit, finally, the quality of the FaceTime camera. Like we're right now on the FaceTime camera. And it's just remarkable, right? That you could pay $6,000 for a computer. And that's the quality of the camera. They only have 720p on the computers up to the new one that they just launched, which is now 1080p finally. Like the rest of the world, like $200, $300 computers already had that years ago. But Macintosh, Apple didn't need to, right? They had, you know, high profit margins and, you know, all of Hollywood, they had a sort of street cred, right? So anyway, I know the people in the audience find it interesting. Max doesn't, because he doesn't
this stuff.
He doesn't follow this stuff, but I still find it, you know, because Apple is the largest company in the world. Well, this past week, actually, Microsoft passed them. So think about it. Microsoft and Apple are the two biggest companies in the world, the representatives of America. Total shit products, right? Total crapification. Microsoft is worse, but Microsoft is a bigger company than Apple. And
now, when I started on Wall Street, those two companies were just going public.
There you have it. So, nevertheless, the two biggest companies, and then you have Tesla up there now, like worth 1.2 trillion.
Yeah.
And you know, I see some of these Tesla cars more and more recently, but you know, I've seen some videos of them blowing up and stuff like that.
Well, that deal with Hertz rental apparently was not finalized. They said Hertz bought 100,000 Teslas, and then the next day Hertz, Musk was saying, well, we haven't actually signed the contract. Then Hertz was saying, well, we're still talking about it. I don't know what up to the very last minute what the status is, but this is the ultimate fake it till you make it. I think Elon Musk wanted to sign a deal with Hertz to sell 100,000 Teslas, so he simply announced it. And then instead of going through the whole process of legal to get a deal done and strike a deal, and it could take months, he said, I'll just throw it out there on social media. We'll see the stock price respond, and then Hertz will react.
No, it was the opposite way, actually. Hertz announced it. Hertz said they have a deal to do 100,000 cars. Elon Musk tweeted that there was no contract signed. So
it works both ways. And
both stock rallied.
This is fake it till you make it.
Yeah.
And our doorbell is ringing.
Our doorbell.
I wonder what's happening. Maybe the guy from Appletosh.
Yeah.
Appletosh Computers.
Appletosh Computers. Well, I mean, we have only a few moments to go because.
So just check that, see who that is. It might be a delivery and they went away.
Sure, go ahead, Max. Go ahead, join it. This is like. This is like our days on Ramshackle Radio on Resonance 104.4 FM when we used to have that. Yeah, no, I mean, oh my God. No, but the software, I did just upgrade. Oh yeah, see, it is a FedEx asking for a signature. That's the first time since the pandemic. We have never had to sign for anything. But this guy obviously wanted to spread us some COVID. I can't believe Max had to sign for it. So, yeah. So we have Zillow can't predict markets, and the company is down like 20% in the last 24 hours because they admitted that they have massive losses. They had to dump all these properties. They bought thousands of properties over the past 3 years. And here comes Max again. Okay, cross. Just step. Put one.
I got this overhead. This is going to be very tricky. There we go.
All right.
Right. Like I'm on a boat.
So Zillow admitted like their AI got it wrong. They blame their AI, that the
Yeah.
AI got it wrong. Their AI, in fact, could not predict prices. And in fact, the AI made them lose a lot of money.
Yeah.
And the analysis in like the Wall Street Journal, when they're talking to a bunch of different real estate experts and stuff like that, first of all, one was like, well, in like 40 years of being in the markets, I've never, ever seen markets like this where anybody can seemingly make money. But except for this AI, apparently they were losing money.
Right. No, okay, so the data going into the AI was based on the company Zillow expanding their balance sheet to plow into all the properties that the AI was saying was going to go up. We're going to go up. And so they put a bunch of money into these properties, and then the AI came back and said, oh my God, these properties are going up in value. So then the company said, look, the AI is telling us that the price is going up. Let's put more money into it.
Yeah.
This is called playing yourself. This is financial masturbation, which goes through the artificial intelligence. And it's a classic ruse that people engage in on all types of markets. We saw this with the subprime market going back to 2008. There was this magic money-making machine where if you allowed people with no income to borrow $500,000 to buy property, the value of that property would go up. And then you could use the property to collateralize a bond offering, collateralize mortgage obligations to sell to other people on Wall Street and pension funds. And then the value of those things would go up because there was such a huge demand for these things that had such a great yield. Until such time as this self-reinforcing Minsky-like moment collapsed, and then you have a huge crisis. People are saying, oh, the Zillow property bubble collapse could be another subprime moment in the real estate market. They've got 7,000 properties they're trying to unload. They've lost $200-300 million per quarter in the last 2 quarters, and they never made money on this even from the first quarter. And so this looks like yet another scam perpetrated by the eternal belief that people can outguess the market, that people can figure out a way to beat the market. And this has been true. I've been in this business for 40 years, and I've seen this more than 1,000 times in individual situations where people think that they can outsmart the market because they've got long-term capital management. The biggest, hedge fund collapse in history, just about, going back to 1999, the same type of thing. We have a magic money machine. We figured it all out. We're going to leverage this thing 1,000 to 1 because we know we'll never be wrong. We've got this Nobel Prize winning economists and mathematicians and quants on our board. We've got Jim Rickard as general counsel. What could possibly go wrong? And of course, it blew up. And then Alan Greenspan lowered interest rates to pay for their losses. And that was the beginning of a very pernicious and ugly chapter in American history, where you had socialism distributing all the losses to the vast majority of folks who had to suffer through artificially low interest rates to bail out long-term capital management. But of course, the long-term capital management people got bailed out, so that's capitalism. It's capitalism for them, socialism for everybody else. That was a very popular theme for a few years, that kind of ideological split. So Zillow just did exactly what we've seen many, many, many times before. Human nature is such that it's impossible to get humans not to make this mistake over and over and over again. You mentioned computers and Apple. If the algorithm is set up to make the same mistake, it's not going to not make that mistake because it's algorithmically hard-coded into the software. It's going to keep making that same mistake. That's a bug in the software. Humans have a bug in our software. It's called, we believe we can predict the future of prices accurately enough to leverage ourselves into it. It's a bug. It's never true. It's always false. Anyone who trades shit coins, they've never made money. Crypto Cobain, the guy is never made money in his life. It's a complete scam. And everyone who trades shit coins, it's a complete and utter scam. And there are occasions where it's not a scam and it's just outright fraud. That's completely different, and it's another problem. But when at the end of the day, it's not. Bitcoin is the only way out of this mess.
So things could be a scam and you still make money. So somebody made money on Hertz. Somebody made money on Avis. Somebody made money on Bath and Beyond. Somebody's going to make money on Tesla. And Tesla, whether or not you think it's actually a $1.2 trillion company, worth perhaps now twice as much as all other car companies combined, time will tell. But it's likely, The same, the investors driving that, the speculators driving that price, maybe are going to find out like Zillow's AI that it's all going to collapse. People made money on Dogecoin and other shit coins. Like obviously they did, because there were some people that bought houses and Ferraris and Lamborghinis with it. So
you do have a problem with liquidity. So the problem with Squid Coin is that there was no exit. So even though the market cap was incredibly high, you couldn't sell anything. So they can't really make any money if there's
that's
no
what I'm saying. That's what I said
market.
at the top of the show about Biden bucks, about the US dollar. You're actually starting to see signs of that there's no way to exit it.
Right.
So they'll send you all the money. You'll feel rich. You'll be like, oh my God, look, they've just dropped. Biden gave me $100,000. I'm voting for him in the midterms, dude, obviously. But then you're going to be like, okay, what am I going to buy? All right, I'm going to go get a Ferrari. Well, you can't even get a Yugo, or a Kia. There's like, there are no supply at all anywhere.
Yeah, but the chips are a problem for that as well.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like cars. Literally, you cannot buy a car. So, okay, that's out of the book. So you can't spend your Biden bucks. How about a house? Well, Zillow's AI bought them all, and now it's trapped with it and doesn't know how to exit.
They can't get out.
So, you're going to have this all over the place. You're going to be unable to liquidate your holdings for what you think they're worth. On paper, while it's that quantum physics of fiat again, where on paper in your bank account, 100,000. If we think about in pre-pandemic, pre-Biden buck days, maybe it's worth quite a bit of money. 100,000 could, give you a few nice vacations, a car, pay a bit of your mortgage off and stuff like that. Not anymore. Once you could actually spend it, and that's what happened with Squid. So I'm saying, get ready for Squid. That's the new phrase. Get ready for Squid, because, you have a balance in your bank account at the moment, but you can't spend it. But once you can spend it, once the rug has been pulled, right? That it's gone. Like your $100,000, which you were like racking up debt off of that notion that you could that it was actually going to be worth something.
Right, and the whole point of that Squid show is that people get killed. So,
yeah, but
so then they make a coin based on it, and guess what? People get killed.
Yeah, well,
right? So it's art imitating life, imitating art.
The actual coin had nothing to do with the Netflix series or the producers.
No, it's just an imitation, but the end result was people got financially killed.
And of course, we only have, it's 2:00. So I know Swan Signal is starting up shortly with Marty Bent. So of course, swanbitcoin.com/orange pill are the sponsors of our program. So I don't want to kind of eat into their space. Plus we have this shitty Mac camera here. But in the last few moments, we'll have 5 more minutes here, 3 more minutes. I'm going to look at the comments, see if you have any questions. Paco and Glenn, if there's anybody that's saying the audio is not loud enough, and whoever, if you could go back and hide that person from ever being able to comment again, because we don't want those sort of people in the room if they're giving incorrect information. So you could complain about the video, because the video is obviously shit. But I'm going to go look and see what you said.
Okay.
Da, 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 da.
So this is my resting bitch face.
Why are you smiling? That's not a resting bitch face.
No, I broke it. I broke my resting bitch face. I couldn't stop smiling because it's the weekend, basically. The weekend is here. So that always puts a smile on my face. You got a nice long 9-month weekend coming up. I got a trip to El Salvador. We're going to be in El Zonte, El Salvador, November 16th, live on stage. Max and Stacy for the No Fucks Given tour. It's sold out, but you can put your name on the waiting list. You never know. You might get lucky. We sold out pretty quickly. It's going to be a lot of fun down there in El Zonte, El Salvador, on the beach. I'm going to be wearing my thong, flashing my legs.
Stacy Herbert is amazing. That's a good comment to end on.
I made that comment.
That's a good comment. That's a good comment to end on. This was actually almost a genuine long full dose. It was 45 minutes, and
awesome. I think we give ourselves a pat on the back.
Gave ourselves a pat on the back, and I'm going to do
fresh flowers.
These are really cool flowers.
Look at that. The petals are falling.
The petals are falling off.
That shows you it's true. It's not plastic.
But this is genuinely coming to an end, because this is when Max will start speaking.
It's time to say goodbye, goodbye. It's time to say goodbye, goodbye. It's time to say goodbye, goodbye. It's time to say goodbye.
I got to pick up the buy button.
We're adiosing out of here.
This is
goodbye.
This is bye-bye, not
goodbye.
bye-bye. But of course, go stack some sats at swanbitcoin.com.
Swan.
Say our address.
Stack Swan. What? Buy Bitcoin.com at Bitcoin.
Okay.
Swanbitcoin.com/orange pill.
Okay, go stack some sats at swanbitcoin.com/orange pill.
Yeah.
Because they sponsor this program. They're sponsoring our tour in El Zante. We're bringing Bitcoin to the masses. We're spending Bitcoin right there in El Zante. We've already spent Bitcoin on the venue in El Zante. So we're spreading the love. We're spreading the sats. We're bringing it to the world. So that's it for us on this episode. Now go over to Swan Signal and tune into the Marty Bent live stream. And I hope they're not delayed because then, I sent you somewhere on a wild goose chase. And I apologize in advance for that if that is what happens.
It's a wild swan chase.
Wild